Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be creating a wood sign with the Crafters Workshop stencil. This is part of their new line. These are 16 by 9 stencils and there are so many great ones to choose from, and these make super quick signs for like your home or if you want to give a gift to a teacher, anything like that. So, Christmas is just right around the corner and you're going to need teacher gifts. So this is one that you can really easily mass produce. I'm going to be starting off with my piece of wood. Now, I already did a little bit of prep work here. This is actually a piece of wood from like the scrap or bargain bin that you can find at Home Depot, Menards. I don't know if Lowe's has one. I've never seen it before, but you might be able to look and find it. It's a 1x6 board. This costs maybe 30 cents, if that. They're very cheap. These are just the ends that they've cut off and people don't need. And they throw it in a scrap pile and you can choose one out. So I went ahead and did a little bit of staining on that, a very quick layer of stain, let that dry overnight. Then I added 2 little drill holes in the top with a drill bit. That is optional. You do not have to do that. I just did that so I can hang mine. If you're not comfortable using tools, you can get picture hangers and nail those into the back, or you could just sit this on a shelf and you have no tools needed. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and put on my white acrylic paint. I'm going to do the very top of this choose with white. So I'm going to use a foam brush to put on this paint. I like acrylic paint. You can layer this up, but this thick body acrylic paint from the Crafters Workshop, you don't really need to layer. It goes on great with one coat, which is great for what I'm going to be doing on that word happy at the bottom. So you want to be careful not to move this. So I've got a little bit of painter's tape down there holding it into place. And then I just use my brush and quickly sponge over the choose. You don't want to get any on the happy because I'm going to do something different like I said. But just pounce up and down and get that paint into the stencil. Now if you wanted to make this even easier on yourself, you could do all one color. However, this stencil was a little bit longer than what I had for my piece of wood. So I'm going to move this and make it a little bit closer together. That way it all fits onto the piece of wood I have and I don't really need to go and buy a new one. So I'm going to finish up pouncing this paint on, and once I get it to the opaqueness and everything I want, I can go ahead and remove that stencil. Once it's dry, I did let this dry a few minutes. Acrylic paint, as you know, does not take long to dry. So I just pop that stencil off, let it dry for a few minutes, and then I'm going to go on and do the word happy. Now I moved it over to the left a little bit so the word happy fit onto the piece of wood, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a rainbow word. So I've got all of my different Crafters Workshop acrylic heavy body paints. Again, these are great because I'm not going to have to layer them like I would with my regular acrylic paints. These are going to go on great with one layer. So I am using my sponge to just dab into my colors and blend them together a little bit. So I'm starting off with red, and then I moved on to orange, and right in between the red and the orange, I'm going to just blend a very little bit with the tip of my foam brush. Now if you don't have enough foam brushes to color every color, you can use makeup sponges for this. They're very cheap. You can use whatever you have on hand just to get that color on the stencil. So my next color is going to be yellow. I'm going to tap into a little bit of yellow, go in and do the new part first. I found you want to go in and put on just your straight color first, and then once you get that color where you want it, go in and tap and blend in with the orange paint. Then you can move on to your next color. So I'm going to blend in between the yellow and the orange very quickly to get a nice even transition there, and then I'll go ahead and move on to my next color. Now my next color I'm going to be using is green. I'm going in rainbow order here, and I am going to switch brushes. Also, if you don't have enough brushes and you don't want to pick up makeup sponges, just grab one brush and rinse it out each time. It will take a little bit longer, but you won't need to get as many brushes that way. So I messed up there a little bit. I almost went in with blue, but I caught myself, so I went ahead and wiped that off. I'm going to pick up some green and start tapping that onto my stencil. And again, start with that new portion first, and then finally I'll go in and blend in between the yellow and the green. Next up is the blue color. Did my new portion there first, and then I went back and blend it in between the green and the blue. It doesn't take a whole lot to blend between the two colors, just a few pounces should do. Finally, I'll finish up with that purple, and once the color is all on, it's time to remove that stencil, and there I've got that gorgeous rainbow happy on the bottom. It really does make me happy to look at that. Now the final thing left to do was to add my wire on the top. Like I said, if you do not have drill bits and this is not your thing, don't worry, you can still make a sign like this. All you need to do is either just leave it be and sit it on a shelf, or you can get picture hangers. They're very cheap at the hardware store, and attach that to the back and hang it that way. Now I have this rusty wire that my father-in-law actually got me from the railroad. I've had it for years and years, and it's great for like that little bit of a rustic look. So I grabbed some of it, I put some through the back to the front, and then on the front I'm going to wrap those pieces of wire that hang over into like a little circle around a Sharpie, and then just push them down. That way they're not going to slide out and they won't drop the sign then. So that just gives it a little bit more of a finished look, plus it makes sure that the sign stays put. And there I've got a little wire hanger on the top. You can add a ribbon to that, you can leave as is, you could add some burlap to that if you wanted to and take this even one step further, but I'm actually going to leave it as is. And that finished off the sign for today with those 16x9 stencils. This is a breeze to do. Here's one last look at that sign all finished up, ready to go. That does it for me today. On the left side of your screen, you're going to see a few different links you can click on. There's also a subscribe button over there if you haven't subscribed to my channel already. And also down below, you are going to find all the links to all the supplies I use. So if you're curious, you'll find them down there. Happy crafting!